Hey, what's going on, everybody? BDF 44 here. So my mind is going off, sitting in the dark, don't have whole lot going on. So I figured I'd do a little thinking, do a little talking as usual. And the Kwame Brown Hassan conversation has kind of brought about a different topic in my mind, different angle as I always have, about manhood, the absence of manhood in boys' lives and things of that nature that Kwame Brown kind of has shed a light on in this era. Just helping us understand what a real man is supposed to be like, how to display masculine energy and things of that nature. Uh, and Hassan, kind of gave us a different perspective at the end, even though he was spiraling. Everybody saw the video, but what he was mentioning was something I could actually pull from. He said he had never seen what a real man is about. He had never been in a household where a man would be held to the type of principles that Kwame Brown thinks are norms, and I think that's the key. I think that's the missed opportunity that both men weren't able to receive from that situation. Was that there was perspective to gain. Kwame's teaching us that we should all know what a man should be about. But I think the reality of what's going on, and I think he realizes this, which is why he's providing, is that a lot of us don't have it. You know what I mean? But I think what gets lost is that we can't beat each other up for not having those traits naturally, because we are at a disadvantage. A lot of us, we did not grow up in households with men. I'm one of those people that didn't grow up with households with men. So Kwame Brown look at me, he may see I'm displaying some beta male energy, but it ain't by my intention, and it certainly ain't for lack of wisdom. More so for a lack of habit or a lack of insight, for which he provides. It's very valuable. But I think a guy like Hassan Campbell, he needs help. Now, he missed an opportunity, in my opinion, to have the conversation uh, in the presence of Kwame Brown that probably would have helped both of them have insight on what each other was talking about a little further. Kwame's haste to jump to the conclusion that all men should understand the principles that he does. No, sir, we're not gonna. Not all men were raised in the South with those Southern principles, brother. No, no. Some people were raised around people who don't have those morals. Some people were raised around raw street criminals and people who were entitled in different directions that had nothing to do with that. People raised up in very, very uh, well versed households may not have those traits either, because they didn't have a man in the household speaking that way. Your norms are not everyone's norms, but they are principles that we could take from, use, and I think apply to each other to be more respectful, more honorable amongst each other, and be more trustworthy in the eyes of one another. I think those are traits that we would love to have, to be more respected in the eyes of women. I think a lot of men want that. I think most men want that to some degree. You know what I mean? Regardless of how they identify, I think respect is something we all garner, and I think that some of the behavior traits that Kwame speaks of are helpful. But we can't shun brothers for not having them. We can't just look around and say, see, you can't talk to those people, shouldn't, or what have you. How I'm perceiving what he's saying. You gotta try to reel those people in, man. You gotta reel them in and help them see that leadership is something that a lot of us want to be, but not all of us are qualified to be. Doing homework and doing due diligence. Not everybody has the habit of doing so. Not everybody has the wisdom of understanding why they should. They learning that in this real time, because of displays such as these. And I just feel like we should not be so quick to turn people away because they don't meet the criterias uh, that we feel we can respect. Because the very criteria that we want to share with them uh, may actually be where us that needs to give it to them. You know what I mean? It might be you that needs to hand them that. That's what I'm trying to say. They ain't gonna get it nowhere else. And if you spend your time, you know, making sure that they respect you in whatever way you're trying to get them to respect you, you may miss the opportunity to teach them, to keep them in the room for them to listen to what it is that you ultimately want them to hear. And I think that's what happened to Kwame yesterday. I think Kwame was trying to actually teach that man something. I think he was actually trying to reach him, but I think the differences in region from where they're from, the respect factor from New York. Like, once I apologize, you gotta move forward. And I think the down home Southern energy of, I want you to gain some understanding. It ain't just about your words. Did you get some enlightenment? I think that disconnect was there. I understood both mentalities. I don't think they understood each other. I think that's what it really was, man. I think it was just two differences of communication. And to be honest with you, Hassan is not in a space where he's ready to receive anything. It seems. I don't think Hassan is devoid of understanding that too. On most states, I just think Hassan is spiraling right now. I think it's pretty obvious coming out of his mouth that he's not in a good place. He's on some low frequency right now, and I hope he's not abusing something that he shouldn't be, trying to cope with stuff, because that can kind of distort one's logic, for which it seems like his is, to be honest with you. It's a little distorted. Some of the stuff he's saying ain't covering his backside like he normally did when I used to kind of pay attention to his videos. It just seems like he's really spiraling, man. I don't know. He wasn't. It seemed like he was off his game. You know what I mean? Like, YouTubers and people who are in media tend to understand when you're capturing a moment and when to play to the camera and when to just let things ride. And it seemed like he wasn't vibing off of none of that. He wasn't present. And I think halfway through the video, I think Kwame started sensing that too. I sensed that Kwame was sensing that too. Like, he's not really feeling like he cares about what it is we're trying to do. Like, Kwame's still trying to, entertain and keep the numbers up, and Hassan's out here telling people F you and F your people, and I don't care about the people. Like, that's completely counterproductive. I don't think Kwame would have brought him on if he was talking like that. If he would have known he was in that mindset, rather. That's not the brand that Kwame's trying to push out there. You know what I mean? Like, even if we beefing, it's like, who are you, bro? I think halfway through it became one of those type of situations. Hassan's just he's not in a good space, man. He's gonna have to get some help. I think everybody see that at this point. And with what he's been through, and with what he's been dealing with in terms of just trying to really build this channel, you can see where the pressure, coupled with the trauma, coupled with whatever else is going on personally, it can get to you. And when you're forced to face the hypocrisy, and we know he has to live with some of that stuff that he's doing and saying, with some of the stuff that he be saying without receipts. Conspiracy theories, calling people out, and just being real dismissive and kind of callous about talking about people who've passed away and how they passed and all of that. You can't put that energy out and expect people to continue to want to support you and see you as somebody they should feel sympathy for. You're no longer a victim once you start acting like a bully. It starts becoming a situation where it's like, how authentic is your victim? How authentic are you in being a victim? Do we need to start questioning some of the things that you've told us about other situations because of how you're acting here? It starts to bring about an interest in your character. When you start making the type of statements that he was making throughout the night, just in general, man, he was really flying off the rails. So, yeah, man, I don't know. That's where the conversation was taking me now. I kind of reflecting and looking on all of that and just saying, man, I thought both of those brothers missed an opportunity to have a real conversation there, instead of just being so caught up in who respects who and who could beat up who and ultimately who wanted to come fly out to see who. I thought that was kind of entertaining, but there was a conversation to be had there amongst black people for a real audience of serious individuals who were ready to listen to two people that we know have a similar message ultimately. And they had a disagreement, but I thought that they could have had a conversation about manhood. I thought the insight that Hassan has about not having had any real men in his life teach him anything positive versus Kwame's strong black men in his life teaching him the way to go could have been a good conversation and a meshing of both worlds that could have provided some insight for both of those individuals and for all of us. And I thought that they dropped the ball. And I don't think it was Kwame's fault. I think Kwame was ready. You know, I think he was ready. But just like anything else, when somebody starts talking crazy, it's like, well, you know, I gotta be a man at the end of the day. I gotta defend myself. Kind of sloop down to his level, but I just know Hassan's, he's in a bad space, man. And I tell you what, I've I've felt some strong ways in my life. I've dealt with a lot in my own head, and when you hear somebody talk like he's talking, you can see that they're on the verge of spiraling in a way that could affect others. It could. I'm not saying that I think he's dangerous to anybody or anything like that. I don't want my words to get to that point, but it's just he said some stuff that just made you wonder how, how where this goes from here with that guy, especially if the backlash and the pressures continue. Where is this headed? You know, so that's my concern with Hassan. But it is what it is, man. We all gotta go our own way to go. So I wish him well. I wish Kwame well. Wish all of you guys well. Thank you all for watching. My name is BDL44, and I'm out.